Hello. In today's video, we will demonstrate how to complete the travel expense reimbursement form for a conference. From the homepage, simply navigate to the Forms widget and select Travel Expense Reimbursement. The form will appear on your screen. At the top of the form are instructions and guidelines and references to policies and other contact information. The first step is to fill out the supplier information. Who is it or whom is it that you are needing to fill a reimbursement out for? At the supplier line, simply key the individual or company's name and then select it from the list. If your individual or company is not available, then you will need to work with purchasing to have them established in the banner system. Once you've selected the individual or company, their address information that is currently in our system will appear. If alternative addresses are available for the remit to address, you would be able to select it from the drop-down list. If the address you need is not available, then again, you will need to work with purchasing to have it added. The next part of this section is to identify whether or not the individual is an employee, a student, or a non-employee. Simply make the selection. The last portion of this section is to provide the permanent address for the individual, or in some cases, it may be the company. Once you have this entered, now you're ready to provide the invoice information. The invoice information is simply the invoice number. The invoice number begins with the word travel. The next element of the invoice number is the first date of the travel event. In this scenario that we are going through, the travel begins on April 3rd and goes through April 5th. So the date for the invoice number would be 040320. Now you're ready to provide all the information for the travel event. The first thing is, when did you leave? Simply click the calendar, navigate to the correct date, and select it. In this scenario, we are leaving on April 3rd. What time did you leave? We left at 12 p.m. When did you arrive at your location? We arrived on April 3rd. And at what time did you arrive? We arrived at 6 p.m. From where did you travel from? We were leaving from campus, Richmond, Kentucky. And where were you going? We traveled to Atlanta, Georgia. Now, why is it that you're traveling? The next portion of the travel form is the mileage. You have the ability to provide city-to-city mileage or vicinity mileage. In this scenario, we are doing city-to-city. There's a box provided for notes or references. For this situation, we simply need to enter the number of miles traveled. At this point, we have no vicinity mileage for this trip. The next piece is your per diem or subsistence amount. Since this is a departure day, we will simply enter the departure subsistence amount. If anything needed to be deducted for this, then it would be, you can note that in the all subsistence note box and just simply enter the correct amount. So we have finished the first day of the trip. Now on to the next day. Simply select the next day in the calendar. And on this day, we simply stayed in Atlanta, Georgia. So there's no need to provide departure time, departure dates. Simply put that you were in Atlanta, Georgia for the day. Again, you're just going to repeat what you had above. On this day, we have no city to city mileage, we have no vicinity mileage. The only thing we have is our subsistence amount. And now we're ready to complete the last day of the trip. We're returning home on April 5th. What time did we leave? We left at 8 a.m. What time did we return or arrive at our location? And at what time? Where did we leave from? And where did we arrive at? And again, you have to provide the business purpose. In this situation, we will have a mileage. And our subsistence again. We have no more elements or no more lines, date lines for our travel. Now we can simply navigate to the section of other expenses. Did we pay for anything out of pocket for this trip? This is our personal funds that we used. In this particular situation, we purchased the conference registration for $100. That is the only out of pocket expense we had. The next section is other expenses, your prepaid expenses. Did the university disperse a check or an ACH payment for you? Did you use a university pro card or a department pro card to make a purchase for anything? In this particular situation, we used a department pro card to pay for our hotel charge. What was the dollar amount? Who was the pro card holder that made this charge? In this particular case, we will say it was Dawn Marshall. If this was you, you would simply enter your name. Now you have completed that portion of the travel voucher, and you have one more step left. The last step is to attach your receipts or any other documentation that is needed. Simply click on Add Attachments, select Files, and navigate to where you have the information. For travel, it is expected and understood that you may have multiple receipts. You simply keep clicking Select Files and loading as many files as you need. Once you have them all at 100%, click Save Changes. At this point, we have finished every piece of information that is needed on the travel expense reimbursement form. Simply navigate back to the top of the sheet. In the available actions, make sure it says Add and Go to Cart, and simply click Go. At this point, you are now at the shopping cart, one step closer to submitting your reimbursement form. At the top of the sheet, it will show you what is needed to complete this stage. The only thing needed is the business purpose. You will see the amount has passed over for the amount of your travel. You can reference back to your travel document by clicking on the little piece of paper next to Travel Reimbursement Trip Groupings. And you can see now at the bottom of the form, you have a total $579. This is adding up your out-of-pocket expenses and your different legs of your travel event, 220, 38, and 220.50. You can simply close this back, go back to the shopping cart, and enter your business purpose. This can be more elaborate than what you put on the travel form, or exactly the same, depending on what the situation is. Click Save at the bottom. And you will see now the action that is needed is gone. You are now ready to submit your shopping cart. Simply click Proceed to Checkout. Now you're at the requisition stage. Again, at the top of the sheet, it provides you the action items needed for the submission of the requisition. We simply need to provide our accounting information. Navigate down to the accounting codes, select Edit, and provide the information for your travel reimbursement form. The first thing you do is click under the chart, select the university, and then simply select the organization to which you need to charge this. You can simply key in the org number, and you can do this by abbreviation and click search, or you could actually have filled in, or you could actually put it in the description. So let's say I don't know my org number, but I know a portion of the organization number. Then you may simply select from the listing that it populates the correct org number that you need. You will notice that once you've made that selection, the fund number and the program code automatically populate. The account code is automatically set. Will not be any need for you to change this. This is driven by the commodity code used. At this point, simply click Save. You can see now your order is ready to be placed. There is no further action needed at this point for you to submit your travel expense reimbursement. Simply click Place Order. At the top of the screen, you will see Requisition Submitted. At this point, you have successfully submitted your first travel expense reimbursement form.